Sports Gaming. It is almost 7 a.m. in the morning, and I have to say that tonight or this morning was one of the best experiences. I didn't really care for the fight until about 15 minutes before the fight. My heart started beating, and I was like, "That's the feeling you get. That's the feeling you should be having for boxing." And no excuses. Canelo came to the ring at his best. He was in shape. He trained half the fight. So Crawford fought the best version of the best available version of Canelo. And Canelo obviously is the younger fighter. Obviously had more fights, but that's beside the point. Canelo was universally recognized as the number one in the world at super middleweight. So he was a champion in his own right and a legend in his own right. So Bud Crawford has moved up two weight divisions, and he answered the question. Before I even go into the fight, I want to take this moment once again to be able to say, and again, Bud shocked me because when I first spoke to him, and we did our first interview way back, I was the first person in the UK to get an interview with Bud Crawford, and I spoke to him after he fought Breeze Prescott. And after he fought Breeze Prescott, I said, you know what? This guy's giving me something special. This guy's giving me something very special. In that 15-minute interview, I spoke with him. He was able to know his place in boxing and where he wanted to be. The only other person that spoke to me like that in that way when he talked about the history of boxing was Tyson Fury, right? And Tyson's won every belt in boxing, you know. Um, Tyson Fury, I'm talking about there. So Crawford's not done it once. He's done it twice. He's done it three times now, and he's beaten Canelo. Two interviews with Crawford, and actually got to meet the man as well when he was about to fight Amir Khan in London. And I have to say, it's an absolute pleasure. And I always have to say that in that collection of fighters, from Usyk to Crawford to to um, to Thurman to Bivol to Fury, that era, Boots Innis is this era now. Boots Innis, that crop of fighters that I had predicted would go on and do great things. I never thought for one moment that Bud Crawford would go on. I'd be talking to a guy who would be a three-time undisputed champion. You're watching greatness. There's a lot of people that are hyped up in boxing. A lot of people that are, um, you know, this guy doesn't need hype. This guy's the real deal, and we need to be, you know what? Because I had reservations. I had reservations about whether he could take a punch. Right? He answered that question. I had reservations whether he could do the 12 rounds, and rightfully so, because he never fought a super middleweight. But then, you know what? When Sugar Ray Leonard fought Marvin Hagler, the lessons there. When Sugar Ray Leonard fought Marvin Hagler, I think Marvin Hagler was at one of the tail end of his career, but he was still recognized as number one. And that fight reminded me of this fight tonight, where the smaller guy moved up and became world champion and number one. It reminded me of that. The fight also reminded me of when Sugar Shane, and it's to a lesser extent, when Shane Mosley was a lightweight and he moved up two weight divisions and he beat Oscar De La Hoya. He outspeeded, he outmoved, maneuvered, he outpunched Oscar De La Hoya, who then was unbeaten. So, what have I downloaded and learned from tonight? Not everybody can move up and do what Crawford did. There's a certain tangible you have to have. You have to have. And I have to say that, sorry, mate, Brandon, tonight, it's not about that, mate. I'm sorry. You have to be removed as soon as possible. Absolutely, as soon as possible, mate. I can't have that rubbish on my channel, right? I have to say that Crawford took his licks, he took his punches, and he fought with Canelo, and he sat in the pocket with Canelo at times and fought. And not many people can do that. You've seen so many people try and fail. You've seen Khan go up in weight and get knocked out. You've seen Brook go up in weight and get knocked out. There's so many guys who've moved up to weight and not done it. The great Sugar Ray Robinson tried to move up in weight, and he got stopped. I think in the 11th round it was dehydration or something. The great Sugar Ray Robinson, right? Roy Jones famously moved up in weight and he became heavyweight champion of the world. So there's another example of that speed, but then came back down and got knocked out by Tava. For me now, Crawford took control of the fight. He got for it. There were moments I thought Alvarez could have done more, but whether that's because Alvarez has had so many fights, whether it's because Alvarez was frustrated, whether it's because of Crawford's boxing ability, whether it was one fight too many, whether him losing a little bit more weight to come into this fight for speed, he just lost a little bit more in his punch power at his age. Even he's 35, it doesn't matter. You don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that the skill set of Bud Crawford is undeniable. He is the GOAT of our era. That is it. I don't want to hear about it was a crap fight. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, Canelo's an old man. I don't want to hear about, I don't want to hear any of that stuff. Sometimes you just got to sit. You just got to bow your head and say, you know what? This guy is great. And that is it. That is it. It's what it is. It's what it is. My God. If Canelo Alvarez had won, I was undisputed 3 times, he'd be getting celebrated. So let's celebrate the man. He did it. And I'm delightful and happy to be proven wrong that that Crawford has beaten Canelo Alvarez. I said a lot of things. I said he couldn't do this and he couldn't do that and he couldn't do this and he'll get blown away. And I'm so glad he showed resilience and resistance. I'm so glad he fought in the pocket. I'm so glad he answered Canelo Alvarez with whatever Canelo had. He met him and at times outpunched him and pushed him back. Do you know what I mean? Think all the guys that Canelo's fought. Floyd, when he fought Canelo, didn't do that. Floyd was in and out, in and out. Bivol stood with Canelo, but he's a light heavyweight, tall, long arms. But Crawford uses attributes really well, and shout to his team, his trainer. He's got a world-class team. His strength and conditioning trainer. He didn't look great on scales, to be fair, but he don't care about what he looked like on the scales. Bottom line now, the performance he put on tonight, man, Bud Crawford now has put himself into that Bruce Lee sort of mythology now, where it's like you could put Bud in any era now. You could say to yourself, you know what? I don't know how Bud would have done. How would Bud have done against Mayweather? How would Bud have done against a Sugar Ray Leonard? How would Bud have done against a Marvin Hagler? You can ask those questions now because he went in there and he beat Canelo, a guy who probably was walking around or coming in the ring that night was probably 190 pounds. So why can't Crawford fight Hagler, Duran, Leonard? Why can't he fight those guys? Why can't he go in there and mix the guys? How would he do against a Mike McCallum, for example, a James Toney? You can have those conversations now. Yeah, I know Canelo was loading up, looking for the one punch all night. That's probably the way he fights now. That's probably all he can do now, and it's worked against certain level opponents. They can't put punches together anymore. I tell you who that reminds me of. There was a guy whose career he used to be a combination punch and start throwing one, but I couldn't remember who the guy was. But that's what happens, so that's what it is, bro. That's what it is. You can have that. You can literally have that conversation because you've got the evidence right in front of you. He did it against Canelo, and he did it so well against Canelo. So he didn't just beat Canelo and like the Madronov fight. He beat Canelo convincingly. And so when you put that performance against Canelo, I was thinking, oh well, Bud can't beat these guys that Canelo's fought. I have to look at that conversation again and think to myself, or do I have to say to myself, styles make fights? Duke McKenzie said that Canelo is tailor made for Crawford. And Duke McKenzie, who's one of my favourite pundits, should have listened to me a bit more. And I should have learnt the lessons. And I will learn the lesson. People that move up in weight. But then, look, Charlo was undisputed at light middleweight. He went up to super middleweight as soon as he felt the power. But again, that was a couple of years. It was a couple of years ago. When did he fight Charlo? Yeah, he fought Charlo. Who did he fight after Charlo? Oh yeah, he had what's this guy's name? Oh, super middleweight got knocked out by. I can see him now. Anyway, he fought him. This Bud is still fresh. Never really took any serious punishment in his career. Yeah, man. When he said it's God, then you got to believe the brother, man. You got to believe that if he said it's God, you got to believe the brother, and I believe him. So I just hope that now, whatever's going on with Bud outside of boxing, I hope that whatever that situation is gets resolved. Um, and I hope that he gets his accolades. He wasn't getting his accolades when he was at top rank. He wasn't getting promoted the way he was getting promoted at top rank. And it's like God said, you know what? Okay, you're not going to get this. You're not having this here. You're not getting treated here. You're not getting promoted right here. Don't worry. Be patient. I'm going to take you there. I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you. Just hold on. Hold on. And then on the biggest platform ever, on Netflix, the whole world can see you against one of the greatest fighters of our era. He's allowed to perform. There's the expression we have. They say in the church, they say in America, they say, look at God. That is when you say, look at God. That's a great testimony, I've got to say. Would he have beaten Pac-Man? I don't know. Pac-Man's a different sort of stylist, and he's in and out, bouncy, 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 bouncy. But it would have been a great fight to see, wouldn't it? At what weight would you fight Pac-Man? What weight would you fight? If you're going to take that fight, Crawford's got the options. He could say to Pac-Man, right, we can move right up. I'll fight you, Pac-Man, at middleweight. Because he can do that. Crawford could do that. Crawford could say, Pac-Man, fight you, super middleweight. He could do that. Yeah, I think he's got two more, 140, 147. Man, bro, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know anymore. Because I had doubts about Crawford's chin. I really had doubts about his chin. And I thought there were moments that Canelo had him slightly going. But I think with all the smiling and the killology, Canelo didn't sense the moment. But that's been a great champion, you know. I think he was stinging Canelo. I think the other thing, right? I think Canelo thought that if I land on this guy hard, I'm gonna knock him over. So I don't know if it's one of these things that they say when you move up in weight, you can see the punches coming. David Hayes said that when he moved up to fight like the heavyweights, he said, "Oh, I'm knocking these heavyweights up because from cruiserweight I can see the punches coming." So it's something I remembered Hayes saying. So it's probably not the fact that Canelo doesn't hit very that hard. Maybe that he does hit very hard, but Crawford can see the punches, that he can brace himself for the punches coming from a low weight division. But he was still getting nailed with a straight right hand. He was still getting nailed with a right hand over the top. But he took the shots, and for that, you got to give a man credit, man. Listen, you can call him an all-time great. You can call him the greatest fighter of this era, and you can't really argue about it because even Usyk, I know he beat Joshua, he beat Fury. Yeah, he's done great things to being two-time undisputed. But I'm not sure how many of those guys are going to have that legendary status that this man is just beating Canelo Alvarez. So, yeah. Not man. How can I be a sellout? How can you talk about being a sellout? You're very silly. Very, very silly. Very silly. You got to give a man credit where it's due. It's nothing to do about selling out. It's about giving a man credit where it's due. I have no time for people that can't give credit where it's due. The man won, give him his credit, right? That is like you go to work, you do your work, you get paid, you expect to get paid, right? So I don't hear any nonsense. And if you got that mentality, come out of the room, don't come back, because that's nonsense talk, real crap talk. Real crap talk. Probably like you probably watch WWE and think like Hulk Hogan would beat Mike Tyson. That kind of nonsense, man. Get out of the room, man. But coming back seriously, Terence Crawford. Bro, listen. Come, wait. Yeah, go away. I'm mad. Go away. Right. So you know what? He's great. He's great, and he's well, three-time three-time undisputed heavyweight, three-time undisputed champion of the world at three different weights. Now you're talking about guys like Henry Armstrong, right? Was it Henry Armstrong? And I remember Bud talking about Henry Armstrong to me. I remember we talking about Henry Armstrong together. Now just look, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. Some of you guys want to understand. You want to understand what it feels like to stand shoulder to shoulder with somebody that you've interviewed on more than one occasion, and you've seen them grow from lightweight to super middleweight champion of the world, undisputed, and see them do it before your own eyes, and all the doubts you had about them, they've literally proven you wrong every time. And that's a beautiful thing. About what round were you convinced Bud had him figured out, Ingram? I think it was the round where they had that exchange. The round they had the exchange when they both came out together and they had that exchange. That's what I felt. And Bud was able to stand his ground and take what Canelo had in that, I think, like the fifth round. That round, right? I think it was fifth or sixth round when they just got furious. That's the round I felt, you know what? I got this. I got this. Because if I can stand in the pocket with you and you've hit me with your best shot early and I'm still here and I'm landing fours and fives on you and I'm pushing you back, or you're not even pushing you back, but I'm able to sting you. That's what they mean by float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. It was frustrating, Canelo. It was like you don't have to knock a guy out, but if you've got enough to flick him and sting him, that's enough to keep him off balance. Could Bud beat Benavidez if he stayed? I don't know, man. Now you're looking at different dimensions. You're looking at different dimensions, a totally different fight again. I wouldn't want to see that because Benavidez has got the hand speed. But again, I can't be doubting. I can't be doubting Bud, man. I'm out. I'm out of doubting Bud because as far as I was concerned, Canelo was going to be too strong, and he would have laid out Crawford. So what do I know anymore, man? I don't mind being made to feel stupid by greatness. I don't mind to feel stupid by greatness. And now you see Canelo wouldn't fight Benavidez. Side note, he's KO'd Bud too. Quite possibly. The hand speed, quite possibly. I'm not disputing that, but for the moment, I don't talk about Benavidez. Benavidez will get his moment. Benavidez will get his time. But for now, tonight, you can't even start. You shouldn't even, Benavidez, they shouldn't even come into the conversation. Benavidez is a good fighter. He's on the way. You're talking about a legend, a three-weight, undisputed champion. That's historic. No man walking on this planet has done that in boxing. No man. No man. The man who's come closer to that is Alexander Usyk. So for Usyk to become three-time undisputed, you have to move down to bridgerweight. Is he prepared to do that? Yeah, Canelo was so frustrated. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Canelo was he was throwing his best punches, man. He gave Crawford the best he had. The best he had, and he took it. And he took it. So, Mr. Crawford, please accept my apologies for saying you'd get knocked out by Canelo. Please accept my apologies for saying how dare I say that Canelo was gonna stomp you and knock you out. How dare I? How dare I? How wrong have I to have said these things? Yeah, Canelo was telegraphing his punches. He looks telegraphed because Bud Crawford is that good. Surprised at all by Bud not going orthodox. I think that if he'd gone orthodox, he probably made himself a bigger target. Remember, a good example of this, yeah, is when what's his name? He takes away the left hook as well, doesn't it? Takes away the left hook to the head. Remember when Tyson Fury get knocked the overhand right? When Fury kept getting hit with the overhand right and knocked over by the overhand right, not knocked over by getting hurt by the overhand right by Derek Chisora for the second fight, I said, "What are you going to do, Tyson?" So he turned southpaw. So he took away Derek's best punch was the overhand right. So yeah, that's strategic. I'm not surprised at all. You've got to use what works best for you, don't you? It would have been interesting to see if Bud had got himself into any sort of trouble, whether he would have switched. Thank you for the Bitcoin information. Really interesting. Appreciate that. So right, I think I'm done. There's not much more I can say. To all of you who believe that that Crawford was going to win, please accept my apologies, Mr. Crawford. Again, it shouldn't be Mr. Crawford. It should be Sir Bud Crawford. He should get a PhD in boxing. You know when they give away these honorary certificates, well, they need to give him an honorary certificate, a professor in boxing. Because you could say he's the best to do it. I'm sorry. Nobody can argue with that. I'm sorry. I wish I could argue with it, but you can't. It is what it is. Undisputed 3 times. As for Canelo, what does he do now? I don't know. Are they going to push for the rematch? I don't want to see the rematch. I don't want to see the rematch. I don't want to see the rematch because I think Crawford would beat him even worse than the rematch because now Crawford knows what he's about, knows what his power's about. Crawford would beat him even worse. I don't want to see the rematch. I don't want to see the rematch at all. Yeah, and I don't even want to see. I think Bud should retire. I don't want to see Bud coming back down to welterweight and fighting, or coming to like middleweight and fighting and get himself caught up, getting beat by somebody. No, retire, bro. Retire. 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 Undefeated, like Joe Kawasaki. Retire undefeated, undisputed, and you can give the titles back to Canelo and let him do what he wants with it. But yeah, Sir Terence Bud Crawford. Congratulations. I top my hat off to you. That's what it is. Never be ashamed. Never be ashamed to say when you got it wrong. Never. I've got plenty right in this time, and I've got this one completely wrong. And I should have listened to my man Duke McKenzie a little bit more. I couldn't believe when he said that um, Canelo was made for Crawford. I really didn't. Couldn't see it. But yeah, well done, Duke McKenzie. Well done, Duke McKenzie. Well done, Duke McKenzie. Well done, Duke McKenzie. Right, I'm out. Have a great night or great morning. And if you're all in America are back, Bud, you got a superhero there. Omaha has their own black Superman. His name is Terence Bud Crawford. Good night.